Thank you so much for joining us today for the Pastor's Potluck podcast. Here on the Pastor's Potluck, it's similar to a normal potluck where you might get something that you want and there may be something that you just want to pass up altogether. And that's okay. There's something here for everybody. Our goal here is to encourage you and maybe in the process entertain you. If you're ready, let's dig in. Well, thank you for joining us for, I got something in my eye.
That's the new name of the podcast.
The new name of the podcast. I was trying to fish it out before I got the cue to hey, we're starting, but welcome. Oh, goodness. It's a good day. It's going to be a good day. Before we get started into our conversation, I was driving on the way to work here, and I was like, you know what? We're just going to take a moment really quick and just one thing that God is doing in your life that you see his hand on, that you see maybe his provision, you've seen healing, just something that you just want to celebrate that God is doing in your life. We'll start off with you, Leslie.
Yay, thanks for the last minute, I'm all prepared and
I know. Look,
and then you throw that at me.
welcome.
Thank you.
Wait till we open up that jar.
Oh, I know. I listen and watch the podcast, so
Yeah.
I'm familiar. Let's see. I guess just what he's doing with Ryan at college
Yeah.
and how he's doing well. He's plugged in. He's still serving God and connecting that way. I think that's a great thing.
Absolutely. It's amazing because I've talked with Pastor Anna, I've talked with Matt, your husband, and he just talking with them and seeing what he's getting into and he's associated with Chi Alpha there. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome just to see, and I hope that, my kids do the same thing whenever they go off and they do their college experience, that they still serve God, that they find a church, that they get plugged in. I mean, that's ultimately what we want for our kids. And so that's a huge blessing.
Exactly.
Everything else just is that's just secondary. But him following Jesus and still sticking with it is incredible. So, what about you, Pastor Cheryl?
I think one of the things that's been cool is that I've been setting some long-term goals for groups that we're going to be talking about today, but I've been setting some more long-term future goals for those things. And the couple people that I've talked to about some of the future things, they actually had either been told about this certain book or had the book. So it's just one of those moments where it's like, man, God, you were leading me to go down this path, and obviously it's what I'm supposed to do because it's just not a coincidence to me that someone's either been told about a certain thing several times or someone actually owns the book that I'm talking about. And so just seeing some things kind of work its way and get into place for that future stuff is cool.
Yeah. I think for us, it's really weird because Erica's car broke down at the beginning of December, and it was a major fix, transmission, transfer case, all that. And then we pick up her car, and we're like, all right, things are going to be good. And then, literally 24 hours later, my car breaks down with struts and tie rods and all that, which is not as expensive as a transmission. But it's just a whole bunch of things it's all coming out of the account at once. Transmission, my car's going to have to be picked up sometime later this week. And then you've just got car insurance because we pay every 6 months. We do the 6 month chunk. And so that's due this month and, goodness gracious. But the great thing is that everything has been taken care of. And what I mean by that is things are a little bit tight, but my kids are not going without. And so just having that peace, it's frustrating. It could be tense at times, especially whenever you're trying to navigate the grocery aisles because eggs are $72 a dozen right now. And dude, it's
Yes.
expensive.
Yeah.
But just knowing that God has given me just the right amount every single time that we needed it, and it's been amazing, and it's given me a little bit of peace. Yes, I'm looking forward to 2 months from now whenever everything is kind of like evened off, but just the fact that he's given me the wisdom to kind of stash quite a large amount of my paycheck away for these rainy days, but then also like with everything else that's going on, like God has just been there and given me peace. Hey, it's okay to make that payment. It's okay to do this.
Yeah.
It's okay to do that. Um, it's just been incredible. Sometimes whenever things like that, it just catches
Yeah.
it catches people off guard.
Yeah.
And they
Yes.
just don't know what to do.
Right.
Yes.
And so I'm just grateful that I have a job. I'm grateful that that God has just been there, and I'm grateful that God is still moving in Ryan's life. I'm grateful that God is still moving here at the church through our groups,
Yes.
which kind of brings us to our topic that we are going to discuss today. So, formal introduction, Pastor Cheryl, obviously our next steps and discipleship pastor here at Southridge, and then Leslie Smith, our groups coordinator,
Yes.
leader, savant of all things groups here at the church. We think highly of you
Well,
around here,
thank
by the way.
you.
We talk a lot of great things about you. So, but we're going to be talking about our groups because our kickoff it's February. I know this. It's 19th,
12.
12th.
Mhm.
Super Bowl
Super
Sunday,
Bowl
kicking
Sunday.
off with
That's
a
right.
kickoff party. Yeah.
Kickoff
know.
party, and we're super excited about this. So I just wanted to start off by just like a very general kind of like let's encompass groups all in one question. What is the purpose of groups here at Southridge?
Yeah, so me.
Yes.
Okay. Well, the purpose is really to discover community, and I mean, we say we are better together, but for me, part of this for groups is really that aspect of we never stop growing. It's kind of the key discipleship area for adults and young people. We have some youth, some teen groups as well that meet on Wednesdays, and seeing what's happening there is really cool too. But if you're just coming on a Sunday for a service and leaving and not really diving any deeper with that, then your discipleship is a little bit stalled. And so it is to help build disciples and within a smaller group, a smaller community of people. And that's what we're trying to kind of model what Jesus did with his disciples,
Yeah.
getting in a small group of people, doing life with them, meeting regularly together, talking about what they're learning, doing those things, and really seeing how to put that into practice.
Yeah. I I'll be honest, listening to a sermon on Sunday, sometimes you catch yourself daydreaming. Sometimes you catch yourself, being distracted by maybe some noise that's happening. You've got something crazy going on in your life and you're here. Leslie, why is it important to get a better understanding of the word through our groups? Like why are groups so important just to kind of begin to break down this discussion about what was taught on Sundays?
Well, for the daydreamers and the distracted parents and those folks, it's just to hear some of those main points again. If you're studying the sermon in your group,
Yeah.
you're hearing the main points, you're hearing the verses again, and you are kind of maybe gaining a new perspective or gaining knowledge that you didn't have before.
Yeah.
You're, constantly learning new things. You can get confirmation maybe of what you were thinking about what was said in your group. And if, others also are thinking sort of the same thing, it helps to confirm in your mind, hey, I was on the right track. But just more growth, like Cheryl said, the groups provide that for all of us. And you're also helping other people, not just yourself. So it's not all about yourself. It's about maybe somebody else in your group, a perspective you have about that verse or what God's saying to you can help, that other person in your group.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I think it's also like it creates a safe place for you to ask your questions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that there are times that even if we're not daydreaming, there might be something that like we just don't fully understand, or we've not been taught before, or we've been taught something a little different. And if you're only coming on Sundays, like you don't necessarily have someone, if you're not in community with other believers, that you can go to and say, hey, what did he mean by this? Or what did they mean by, this point or that point? Like how does that really come into play? Or I don't understand this. Or it gives you that safe place, because we're really big when we
Really.
train our group leaders about creating a place. And you're in our group, so
Yeah.
we have a few rules, and one of those is what is said there stays there.
Yeah.
Because it's incredibly important. We only have a few exceptions, and that's what we call our 3 hurt rule, which is if you're hurting yourself, hurting someone else, or someone's hurting you, then we need to get outside help involved, because we love and care about our people.
Right.
But creating that safe space that you can ask those questions, talk about those things, it's really, really big for growth.
Right.
Because I think a lot of us grew up in that aspect, in those places where we couldn't really ask the questions, or if you asked a question, it was like, oh, well, you're not believing enough, or you don't have enough faith. Like, it's just what it is.
You're like, no, I do.
And-
That's why I'm asking this
ex-
question.
Yeah,
Like, I just-
exactly.
and I'm sure, like, during, like, even some of our hard-hitting topic sermon series that we do, like, it's like whenever we went through Leaving Behind, Left Behind, I'm sure that there was tons of questions, and it was good to be able to discuss those points and those topics, just to kind of get a better clarification, but also, like you said, sharing what God has put on my heart, and them sharing what God has put on their heart, and then we all, we all have something to be a part of. Like, we're all participating in it.
Yeah.
Now, groups here it's a great way to live out our faith. Like, can you, Pastor Cheryl, talk a little bit more about, like, what it means to live out our faith by just being a part of a group?
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to something Pastor Scott said in his Sunday message about the early church. They worshiped in the temple, but they met in each other's homes
Yeah.
regularly and shared meals together and, did life together. It's part of that aspect of modeling what was so successful in the very beginning
Yes.
of the church as we know it, is that they didn't just come to worship in the temple. They also met together regularly in smaller groups. You see there are many stories throughout Scripture where you see that getting into smaller groups is kind of a theme. Like
Yes.
when Jesus fed the 5,000, like, you know what they did? They got them grouped into smaller groups of 50s and 100s, and then they were able to do the work. Like, it's hard, especially in larger churches, to really connect with the body, like some people in the body. Like, you could come and you could go and you never really get connected. You never really are able to grow spiritually in a different way, because you're not connecting and communicating about what God is doing in your life. Like, it's really a big part of it is sharing what you're learning, sharing what you're feeling, what you're struggling with, what how God has answered your prayers and been there for you. Like that, your faith and the way that God is there for you helps to grow the faith of other people as well. And so that is part of living out your faith, is sharing it.
Yeah.
And it creates again that safe space where you can do that, because I think a lot of us are nervous to go and just talk to a random person that we work with if you're not working in a church. But it's hard to do that. But like when you are in a smaller group of people that you're meeting with regularly, it becomes easy. They become like your family and your closest friends, and you're able to open up and share and do those things. And then you're also able to be there for one another.
You're taking my
I'm
next
sorry.
question.
I'm sorry.
Goodness.
I'll stop.
You're good. So yeah, like just to kind of piggyback on what you said, it is easy with a church of our size because our church is growing.
Yes.
We're constantly seeing
wonderful.
more and more people that are coming,
Mhm.
and we're not seeing like these huge, like larger dips whenever like most of the
Mhm.
church is coming up because there's more people that are coming.
Mhm.
The dips maybe still be there, but like as
Right.
on an average, like we're getting more people. So it is really easy to kind of slip through the cracks. I'm just going to show up on Sunday,
Mhm.
whatever service I want to be a part of, and just in and out the door. Especially if you don't have kids, maybe
Yes.
a little bit harder. If you have kids, waiting through the checkout process. But Leslie, talk a little bit about the why groups are great for accountability, why they are great because you are able to like lift other people up during their times of need. Um, like whenever they're going through those things in their own lives. Like talk about like why
Mhm.
it's like this sense of community almost. Like why it's
It really
important.
is. Becomes like a small little family
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
that you you stay connected. Maybe if you miss a Sunday, you're not there on a Sunday, that those people in that group will reach out and
Yeah.
like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" You
Yeah.
know, or you get information through your group. I mean, just like when you were speaking out and you started saying about communication, and it's a way for the church to communicate, you all to communicate what's going on, ways for the groups to participate in things that we're doing,
Like
Mhm.
events, yeah.
events, community events, things that were, all of the, when we gathered all of the food for the families before the holidays.
Yep.
It's all of those kinds of things, but also all of the stuff like celebrating birthdays.
Yeah.
I've been in groups where we've had birthday cake, when it's somebody's birthday.
Yeah.
Um, Celebrating graduations, marriages.
Yeah.
Our group recently threw a wedding.
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
so
It was pretty awesome.
yeah,
It
it
was
was really
amazing.
great. Of course, the sad things like loss and death, and
Yeah.
your group can be there for you during that, and that gets me all teary.
Yeah.
But just the big things, the little things,
Mhm.
celebrating your kid's great report card or whatever it might be. I was
Yeah.
in a group once that it was when Pastor Scott and Megan just had, Landon and Livy were really little, and they would come with them. And so just celebrating and doing things with the little kids that are a part of the group.
Yeah.
And just doing things like that. You feel comfortable, like you said, you can share some of that personal stuff when you're weighed down with some heavy things,
Yeah.
whether it's work stuff. Like I've done that recently with work stuff. Like I haven't, can't always share every little detail, but you can say to your group, "Hey, I've got stuff going on at work and I'm
Yeah.
struggling with it. Just pray for me, please."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they will, and they'll check on you, and
Mhm.
they'll follow up, and they'll say, "How's that going? Are you doing okay?"
Yeah.
When all of those things happen. And Ryan broke his arm a few years ago. There was somebody from my group right there at the church,
Yeah.
and they were there with us, praying with us before he went to surgery.
Mhm.
So it's just those kinds of things that it helps you stay connected.
Right.
It helps you, get through some of those tough times.
Yeah.
It's your family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And I think, one of the things that I've thought about recently is that a lot of these things, if you've never been part of a group, you've never experienced the benefit of it. And
Yes.
so it doesn't seem like we can talk about it, but until you experience it in one of those moments yourself, it's not the same. Like,
Correct.
and I know like we threw a little party for both of our kids this last fall where we just had a group birthday party for them because that's who our kids are around more
Yeah.
than anything, pretty much. And so, things were crazy and busy in that season. So we are like, hey, let's just meet and do this instead. And that was really cool. But then also being there in those hard times and with
Yes.
people, like I know times that I've had kids, like my group has come and brought me meals afterwards or after a surgery, like going and bringing meals or helping do things around their house. I mean, when you get a church that's over really 25 or more people, like
Right.
you, unless you're getting into a group like that, you're not going to experience all those benefits because the pastor or pastors, they're only one person, like
Right.
each. And we cannot be there in all those situations
Right.
and
You
all
can't
those
minister
things.
to
Yeah.
everyone.
And so it becomes a ministry place in and of itself, like
Yeah.
where the smaller group of the body is the body of Christ. They are being the hands and feet of Jesus. They are doing those things. We had a situation with someone in our group who their newborn baby had some negative, like some not great test results, and it was kind of scary for them. And we got to anoint them and pray for them that week right before they went off to a children's hospital. They were going the next day to have more testing done, and being there in that moment for them and doing that, and then getting to celebrate when things were good afterwards
Yeah.
is just so cool. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's something that you're not going to necessarily, because we can't stand on the stage and celebrate all those things, every week. Like with
Yeah.
when you have 300 plus people, I mean, you just can't do that.
Our services
And
would be like
so,
5 hours
I know.
long.
Yeah, and
And
you'd never get anything
yeah,
else
I mean, if
done.
you came from a smaller church, like back in the day, like you would have that. Like people would
Right.
share prayer requests openly. They'd,
Yeah.
share praise reports openly. And with a smaller church, you can do that. You can't do that here. And so, being able to be part of that in the regular lives of regular people, there's
Yeah.
nothing better.
Right. And the other side of that is the accountability part.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you mentioned, like we've had someone who's quit smoking in our group.
That's
That's awesome.
awesome.
And so it's some accountability that
Mhm.
we're celebrating. Like when we get together, we're like, how many days? How many days?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And they're like, so it's sort of some of those kinds of things. Maybe it's not something like that, more like maybe your spiritual walk,
Mm-hmm.
somebody holding you accountable. Are you reading your Bible? Are
Yeah.
you feel more compelled to do
Mhm.
those things when you're in a group because people are talking about it, and
Yeah.
you're going to feel left out if you're not doing
Mhm.
the things you're supposed to be doing. It's
Yeah.
not it's sort of a peer pressure thing, but it's not a bad peer pressure thing.
Yeah.
It's just that we're
that
just
you're-
Yeah.
encouraging you to live out a model that is reflective of Jesus in everything that you do.
Mhm.
Yes.
Whether that's, the way that you lead a team at work or the way that you treat your kids. And if it's something that you are obviously aware of and you share with the group, then obviously we just want to see what's absolute best for you.
Right.
So we want to,
Mhm.
hey man, I don't know why this is happening, but the Lord just put it on my heart. I'm praying for you today.
Mhm.
And they probably didn't tell you anything that was going on for the last couple of weeks, but maybe
Mhm.
something that they talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Mhm.
Hey, I'm struggling with this. And the Holy Spirit impresses upon you just to say, hey, I'm praying for you.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm thinking about you. I hope that today's going to be a bangerang day for you.
Yes.
Mhm.
Sorry, I like the movie Hook.
Oh.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And Rufio
I
always says
remember
bangerang.
bangerang.
So yeah, so
It's
bangerang
okay.
day.
We're used to you seeing weird things
Yeah.
occasionally.
And
That's cool.
I'm a movie buff, so I like that.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing is that it's like every single one of our groups is going to be a little bit different. There are
Yes.
there are some
Mhm.
that talk about the sermon, but how they approach it is going to be a little bit
Mhm.
different. And it's also different personality types that are leading it, which is great because that's the way the kingdom is. It's
Yeah.
just
Exactly.
everybody's different. So,
Yes.
but we also have like some specialty groups as well. I mean, you name it. I think the only thing that we don't have, and I'm really pushing for this, I hope that sooner or later we get somebody that just leads like a crochet or a
I knew
knit
you were
group.
gonna say that. We've
It
talked
won't
about
be
it.
me.
We've talked about it. Like, so maybe you're listening and you're in our area and you want to lead a
Yes.
group like that. I mean, go
I
for
might
it.
have a person.
So,
She doesn't go to our church, but she's into that.
That's okay.
Super.
Well, somebody
Super.
on my team, I found out that her husband learned to knit from somebody that we just unfortunately just went to her funeral, but
Mhm.
I found out
Yeah.
he knows how to knit.
Yeah.
But what a cool thing! Look,
I
and
used to
here's
do it.
this is what we do. You get them to knit a whole bunch of them little infant blankets, and then you go give it to all the
Yeah.
NICU
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a cool idea.
That is a great idea.
They can make
Yes.
stuff to sell at the bazaar and
Yeah.
raise funds for something else.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like really the possibility is kind of endless
Yes.
with groups, and I think special interest groups was something that was your vision, your idea, and to see where it's at now is really cool.
Yeah.
Because I mean, from like the adventurers group who they
Yes.
go and do hiking trails around the area. Is just cool. They always have different.
I'm hoping
people.
they get to go kayaking this year. They didn't get
I
to
know.
do that.
I know.
So I think that's in their plans, hopefully.
Yes.
Because I know that's something a lot of those folks like to do, and it may capture a few more people.
Yeah. I've never done it, but I want to do it.
I love to kayak. I've done that a few times.
I'm a little afraid I'll flip over or something, but it'd be
Once
fun.
you're there in the kayak, it's great.
Okay. I'll
And
trust
most
you on
people
that.
think it's like sport kayaking, like
No,
the
it's
Olympics,
like-
where you're just
no,
like,
I don't think that.
No,
but
I'm not doing that.
super
I'm just saying. I
easy.
remember like when I was younger trying to do a canoe, and like we got stuck in the bank and some roots or something, and it was not good. It was
Oh.
bad. So we'll just say there's a reason why I don't lead that group. We'll just say that. But
you
what
need
are
to have
some
some
of
Boy
the
Scouts with you next time.
Yeah.
They'll get you out of the
What are
brush.
some other groups that we have that maybe you would
Well, we
think
have
is-
our refit group, which
Uh-huh.
Pastor Jess leads, where we move and dance and sing maybe sometimes too.
Yeah.
In that, I'm in that group too.
It's loud enough that
It's
even if you're
really
a bad
awesome.
singer, it
We-
doesn't you don't hear
You know,
it.
it's
So
a great way
cool.
to exercise.
That's a women's only group.
Well,
no,
no,
men
Okay.
can come.
we
Okay,
would
I'm
welcome
It's mostly
some
women in the
fellas.
group, but it is a thing for guys. There are
Yeah.
there are
sure.
male refit leaders,
Yeah.
so you want to come,
Yeah.
go ahead.
We also have Meet Church,
Yep.
which I think you're a part of, Jared. The
Yeah, we meet. We may
meet
actually
and-
meet whenever this goes live on that Friday. This Friday. So
awesome.
today.
Yeah, and tell us what you do at Meet Church so everyone understands what Meet Church.
Well, it's led by my good buddy Kenneth Kinder, and it's great. We come together. We've learned all kinds of different techniques on how to barbecue, how to grill, depending on what apparatus you use. Some people use charcoal, some people use propane, some people use pellet grills, some people just build a fire out in the middle of nowhere and cook. And we just get together, we talk, we swap our recipes and ideas, and how do we do this? And one time we trimmed the brisket, and we had a whole brisket there, and we get together and we just eat. We talk about Jesus and we eat. I mean, that's
Great.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
You're a vegetarian. It may not.
may not be the group for you.
I mean, we can learn how to grill some veggies too. Why
Some
not?
There
tofu
you go.
burgers as well.
You've gone
know?
too far, Leslie.
I'm sorry.
They have black bean burgers. Those are yummy.
Well, that's good.
Those
yeah.
are like
yeah.
in the if you've
Or
ever
the
been to Books and Brews,
mushroom
they have
things.
the sweet potato burger.
Yeah.
That's pretty good
So
too.
you could do
just
some of
saying.
that.
Sorry. Okay. Derailed.
No.
I'm sorry.
No, but
We went way off track.
Yeah.
Other groups are.
Kenneth's probably he's kicking his phone however he's listening to this right now. I know he listens, but he's probably like, "Don't you dare!" It's called meat for a reason.
And it's meat like you eat, not like we're meeting up.
No.
Just saying.
It's
Okay.
MEAT.
But we
Yeah.
do meet up.
Yes.
And they do.
But you talk
MEET.
about meat that you eat.
Yeah,
And so other special interest groups.
we meet with meat.
This is why we have Leslie on here to get us back on track.
Yeah.
Well, besides Meet Church and Refit, we also have Financial Peace University. Brock and Rachel lead that, and it's a great program. I've been through that twice. May go through it again, but it's just great, and they walk you through that.
Give a little bit more insight about what financial peace
It's
is.
the program that Dave Ramsey put together. And there's steps, the baby steps that you go through. You're building your budget. You're setting aside money for emergencies. You're setting goals for what you want to do later once you can afford to, when you get out of debt and you can spend the money the way you want to spend it, doing things for others, giving back, and and it's just a great program.
Mhm.
I recommend it to anyone.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it to folks who are engaged or newly
Mhm.
married
Yep.
because
Yeah.
it's a great way to set up the system for
Mhm.
your family and your life going forward
Yeah.
around money and budgets, because we know money is can be a big issue within a marriage if you
Mhm.
aren't doing it
Mhm.
properly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially in the first year of marriage too, because like
Exactly.
there's so much learning and growing within the first year
Mhm.
of marriage, and if you can alleviate one problem, money would probably be the one
Right.
that just so many people disagree on. But if you
Yeah.
can get on the same page and learn how to do just some basic things, like you said, budgeting and
Mhm.
setting aside and preparing for rainy days, also while you're still being faithful with what God has asked you to do
Mm-hmm.
by, with your tithes and offerings and supporting the ministry
Mhm.
at the church that you attend, it's it's so much better. What happened for me and Eric, we didn't even go through Financial Peace University, but like the first 3 years of our marriage, we operated strictly on a cash basis.
Mm-hmm.
So if I wanted to pay a bill, I had to go wherever I needed to and just go pay in cash. And
Mhm.
if I couldn't pay in cash there, we didn't do it because I wanted to sit there and we learned like this
Mhm.
is what's come in and this and this and this and this. And so we'd set it out. $20 goes here,
Mhm.
$100 goes there, whatever to whatever bills. And then we physically saw, okay, well, we only have this amount of money. If we
Mm-hmm.
want to go get a cup of coffee or something or go on a date night or something, then that's what we have.
Mhm.
And if we can't find something to do, then we just let it roll over to where we can do something a little bit bigger and better. But it was a great learning experience. And I
Mhm.
know that financial peace is something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not maybe so as strict, but just making you hyper aware of like every little
Yes.
thing, which is great.
Yeah, I think one of the big things is like every dollar has a name. Like putting a name to
Right.
every dollar so
Yeah.
that
It
way
has a
and
place
that's
to
what you were
be.
doing with
Yeah.
that. Like cuz I know when I was serving and I would mainly have cash, like that's the kind of similar thing that I did because it was it was much easier to do and lay it out like that and know. But we also have your class that you're
My
doing, the
class.
Discover You, the spiritual gifts,
Mm-hmm.
which is really awesome. That's a great way to be able to grow a little bit deeper in your own personal faith and know more about you and your how God's uniquely wired you to build the church and
Mm-hmm.
also gifted you for just the expansion of the kingdom. So that's a really cool one.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
talked about the spiritual gifts here on the podcast. I think we did 3
Mhm.
episodes of it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
which is really great. And we want to encourage people to go through that group, go through the class, and then take that test because you may have a spiritual gift in teaching
Mm-hmm.
or leadership or something along those lines. And we want to make sure that you are functioning
Mhm.
in that gift of the spirit because that's where you
Yeah.
are going to shine the best for the kingdom.
Yeah, and it's where you're going to feel most fulfilled as well. Like you're going
Right.
to feel like you are really living out your purpose and
Right. And the program we're using is not only, you don't take just one assessment,
mhm.
you take like 3
Yeah.
Oh, this
throughout.
class has Megan Beha written
Yeah,
all
and
over
this
it.
Yes.
and this one, don't you have people like other people have to
Yes,
fill out
someone
something for you
else.
too?
You have
Which
2
is
to
cool.
3 other people fill out an assessment about you as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
And then you take all of those different aspects. And then we end the class with talking about, okay, now you've identified these top 3 gifts that you have.
Mhm.
Where can you serve with
Yeah.
those gifts?
Mhm.
Or if you're already serving, does it confirm that you're serving in the right place? Because, like Cheryl said, if you're not using your gift or you're serving somewhere
Mhm.
differently, you're going to exhaust yourself
Oh,
after a
yeah.
while. I mean, you
Yeah.
can be productive and do good things,
Mhm.
but eventually you're going to get burnt out
Yeah.
or exhaust yourself in that
Yeah.
because that's not your gift. And it
Mhm.
also goes into like your passion and
Mhm.
what, those kinds of
Mhm.
things as well for your your own ministry. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's been a good class.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some folks sign up this time. That would
Yeah.
be great. And
Yes.
we can go through it. I'll go through it again.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then we have we have a marriage group. We have
Yes.
a group that's more of like just your traditional kind of service that meets on Wednesdays as well,
Mm-hmm.
where Dean Meadows
Catalyst.
does a preaching for it, and that's cool. And then I lead a women's Bible study, and we have something for everyone. I
We
feel
really
like.
do.
So,
And we have groups that are super awesome if you have, kids, cuz like it's important for your kids to be able to experience that, because our kids, like, every Sunday night they're like, "Are we going groups? When is groups starting back up? When is it happening? What, like
Yeah.
are we going to Titus's house?
yeah, are we going to
Or are we
Jeremy's
going to
house?
Jeremy's
Yeah.
house? Like, like, are we going to?
Yeah.
No, they call him that guy because they don't know
Oh.
his name. Are we going to that guy's house?
Well,
And I'm like, yep.
Esme knows their names now. Jeremy and Rebecca, that lady who had her baby. That's what that's what she says.
Yeah, I mean, we really do. If you want to go out and hike and talk about Jesus, we have a group for that.
Right.
And or maybe the Lord's putting something on your heart
Yeah.
Yeah.
to lead a group. Maybe you are a knitter or a crocheter, or maybe you are a savant with scrapbooking or cake decorating, or just anything along those lines. Maybe you like woodworking. There's so many options and ideas that you can sit down and talk about Jesus, and you just want to share your hobby or your craft with other people, and maybe they are interested in it. There's more than enough people to join the group. There's more than enough interest for us to support you with whatever endeavor that you want to go through. We just want
Exactly.
people just to meet, talk about Jesus, and have a great time.
Yeah. Connect
Go-
with each other.
Connect with each other. Have these moments to where you can partner with people that are maybe going through something in their life and praying for them, or maybe you have a point. And we just don't want you to feel alone in this in your faith journey.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not what Jesus wants. He wants us to come together, be a part of a community. Don't forsake the gathering of yourselves. Doesn't necessarily mean, doesn't even, Pastor Scott said, well, if it's not in the Bible, then he's not talking about congregational meeting. He just wants us to meet, whether that's on Sunday, in a corporate setting, or in someone's house, or out in the woods, or in front of a barbecue pit,
Right.
or in front of some knitting needles. Is that what they call them? Or
I
just
don't
whatever
know.
it is.
Crochet hooks. things
Crochet
like that.
hooks,
Yeah.
sewing machines. It could be anything.
Golf
And
clubs.
just golf clubs. Yes. 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 Who's doing that one?
Sounds like maybe
Not me.
you. I don't know.
Maybe
It's
you.
like,
You sound
you seem
excited
pretty
about
excited
that.
about that
Well,
idea.
yeah, people are gonna be like, dude, let's do it. Let's go play golf. And then like they're gonna see me play first round, they're gonna go, this is not the group for me. I don't want to go help Jared find golf balls. But
Deer hunting. I think there may already be a small group around that.
yeah. Oh yeah, we just need to put it on,
Just
on
nothing
the paper,
official.
put it out in the,
Just-
out in
Yeah.
the deal.
Yeah.
For sure. It's so exciting. I'm excited for this semester. What are some ways that people can find more information about our groups? How do they sign up? Let's point them in the direction if you are listening to this, and let's encourage some people to. I don't know. We've already done our good job of talking about how great and wonderful they are, but where can they
Yeah.
find this information, where our complete list is, and how to
Yeah.
sign up?
So, if you're already connected on the Church Center app with Southridge Church, then there's a button that says groups. You go right there, and it's super simple and easy to see all the groups at any time. And then if you're already part of a group, it'll show up under your groups, and you can communicate with your group through that app as well, which is really great. Streamline everything. RSVP to your group, decline, like whatever. But if you're not on that app or connected with our church or newer to the church, then src.life/groups is the place to go. If all you can remember is src.life, go under next steps, community, like you'll see it. But src.life/groups will take you there. And then if if you're not sure what group, there's a form that you can fill out, and we can help connect you to a group that would fit for you. Or if you're wanting to lead a group, that is also the same form that you would fill out, same place you would go. And you can put down what you might be interested in leading, and we'd follow up with you. And then if you're here in the building on Sunday, starting this week, we'll be having some groups out in the lobby. We have our Next Steps room that have all of them on the wall in there for you to check out and see. But every week you can take cards for the ones that you're interested in and check them out.
Yeah. Yeah. So each Sunday, the next several Sundays, there's going to be a few groups each time. Leaders or representatives from that group will be at a small, table you can talk to them, ask them questions about the group or where they meet, or if you need, if you need to know if the group has something for kids or, that's the opportunity to talk to those people and find out what it's really all about.
Yeah.
If you're wanting more information,
Yeah.
and the QR codes are there on the wall or on the cards as well, so that'll take you straight in to the site to sign up or ask questions.
Yeah. Because we know, like, meeting with people you don't know might feel weird and awkward. So this gives you an opportunity to meet the group leader. It also gives you why we're kicking it off on Super Bowl Sunday is to be able to allow groups to kind of just do a simple, easy, like, little party while they maybe watch the Super Bowl. So there's a little bit more fellowship and getting to know one another. It's a little less intimidating to go to someone's house to have some snacks and watch a game and hang out with people than it might be to, like, come in and I'm going to spill all my secrets. I think a lot of people think that that's what you do. Like, that you just come in your first time, like, they expect you to spill everything, and that's not what it is.
My first visit to a group 20-some years ago was a 4th of July picnic.
There you go.
So that group was having a 4th of July picnic. My husband brought me. We were dating at the time. And so it doesn't have to always be we're going to sit and study the Bible for the whole, hour.
Yeah.
It can be some of the fun things too, so that you get to know each other and make people feel comfortable.
Yeah. And the last thing that I want to say is that, like, if you go to a group and you're like, I don't think this one's for me, don't give up on groups.
Right.
Yes.
Like, it's not going to hurt anybody's feelings for you to try something else. Like, if it doesn't work because the location or the time or the people, or you go to a group and you think there's something for kids and there's not, like, please don't give up. Like, check out the other ones. Like, do not worry about it. You will not offend anybody. That's the last thing that we want, is for somebody to just try something and realize, well, I don't know that I can do that time, and then give up. So
right. And if you want more information, and most Sundays I will be in the Next Steps room right before second service and after second service. Some Sundays I'm there earlier, so I can always answer questions, kind of guide you to where, what group you're looking for. Some people are looking for a certain day of the week, like, hey, I only have Tuesday nights free, so what's Tuesday night or what's Thursday night, or and we have groups on different nights of the week. It's not always Sunday night. So we have something just about for everybody, like you said.
Yep, we're excited. God's gonna do amazing things this semester. So, how was your first podcast, like, going through it?
Not too bad at all.
I know. See, it's fun, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I could do this all the time.
Well, Gina Ford and I have always wanted to do a podcast.
Oh, you're gonna let her pick it?
I was just trying to keep you from the awkward, like,
oh, I know, dude. It was so bad last
twisting
week.
and talking thing that happened last week.
Yeah,
so trying to help out. We're better together.
Yes, that's right. See, we're a group here at the Pastor's Potluck. All right. What are 2 totally normal things that become really weird if you do them back to back?
Say that again?
Okay. What are 2 totally normal things that become really weird if you do them back to back? Like sleeping and then swimming, or swimming and then sleeping. Like, there's no break in between. Like, that's really weird because you could die.
Gosh. Oh. I don't know. I'm thinking.
Come on.
I always
dig
think,
deep.
like, brushing your teeth right before breakfast is weird. Like,
toothpaste
eat breakfast and brush your teeth.
Taste is terrible.
God almighty. That's the dumbest thing ever that people do. I'm going to go brush my teeth, and then I'm going to eat. And then I'm going to go the rest of the day without brushing my teeth. I'm like, bro, just eat your breakfast with your stank breath, and then go brush your teeth.
Yeah. Well, when my oldest was in daycare, we sent a toothbrush with him because they did brush their teeth after they had breakfast.
Yeah.
I don't know. But so he'd brush his teeth twice in the morning. But anyway. But yeah, it's one of those. I mean, obviously, if you're going out to eat breakfast, please brush your teeth before so you don't, like, kill somebody, your server with your stink breath.
But wake up early enough to where, like, your orange juice don't taste like concrete.
It's just terrible.
Dude, I mean, I've never licked concrete, but I can imagine it tastes probably like toothpaste and orange juice. You know, a
Toothpaste with just
little
about
minty,
anything
a little
is pretty.
tangy.
Yeah.
Dude, if concrete
Yeah.
tasted like that, more people would lick concrete.
And then I think that you should also like not just wash your hands before you eat, but you should wash your hands after you eat.
Yes.
Oh,
Gosh.
that's a good idea too.
I mean, you're
yeah, you're all.
And then
yeah.
you
But
go
but it's weird
touch
that,
everything.
Yeah, it's weird that people do that and then they don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like weird. Like, what's two things that are weird back to back? I think eating like at a buffet and then going for a run. That's really weird.
That's a bad idea.
Sounds like puking in the future. That's all.
that
that
would be
is
three things.
Bad idea.
Eating, running, and puking.
Puking's normal within that
Yeah.
aspect.
I
That
think puking is
combination.
the ultimate result of that.
Yeah,
Um,
anything in throwing up.
Yeah.
Those are really
that's
weird.
A bad idea. Oh gosh.
It's all good. These questions are just
Like
made for
eating
us
a
just to kind of cut up.
Eating
for
a
little
cake
bit.
and then weighing yourself. So don't do
Yeah.
that.
Well, it
That's
typically
a bad idea.
Well, it typically takes a while for any kind of like food to like get in there. I mean,
Well,
basically, whenever you're
true.
weighing yourself, you're
Yeah.
just weighing the amount of food that you ate.
Right.
So that just made me think of there's a show called Fat to Fit or Fit to Fat or maybe all three of those in a row, but it's where these trainers go and gain weight. They get
On
fat
purpose.
on purpose so that way they can then lose it with their client together to help. It's a really cool show. But they do that. They gorge themselves right before they go weigh in the last time.
Ay, ay, ay.
It's crazy.
What does American television come
That
to?
doesn't sound
Listen,
healthy at
It's
all.
it's actually it's not healthy. Like they're monitored the whole time because they
yeah, for
have to
sure.
be. Like
Well,
and
yeah.
but it's a cool idea because like a lot of them will come in with this really cocky attitude because they think like it's just a lack of discipline, it's this or it's that, but then like as they go through the process they're like, no, this is hard, so they end up like being able to understand and relate to their client, like heavier clients, a lot better. But anyway,
I get that.
total
but
tangent, but
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I'm not sure what else there would be.
Yeah, if
one.
y'all could think of something, just let me know and we'll talk about it again. But anything awkward. But thank you so much for being here, Leslie, for taking
Thanks for
time out of your
having
busy
me.
schedule to come and talk about our groups and the importance of them, and just but also just like the awesome like this feeling that you get from joining a group. Obviously the things that we talk about is because we've all experienced it.
Exactly.
We've all been a part of it, and we understand the benefit that comes with it. We understand the growth spiritually that comes with it, but we also understand just the important friendships that are just cultivated
Oh,
through
yeah.
this, and how pretty much at any moment's notice, if something were to happen, I know that there's at least 10 people that I can rely on that are going to be praying for
Right.
my situation, and it's just a blessing to have in my life. I don't know that I would ever go without it again. It's just amazing. But we want to encourage you once again, src.life/groups, sign up for groups, be a part of what's happening here at Southridge Church.
yeah. And if you're not part of Southridge, find a church that has groups or join a group somewhere else because
Start an
That's important.
online one with us.
yes.
Yes, we'd love to
That's
have an online
true.
group.
Yep.
Mhm.
So thank you all. We hope that you have a wonderful day today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening in with us today. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram. And you can also watch the video version of this on YouTube as well. All you have to do is search up the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. From all of us here, we want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.